Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally doing episode 2 of KGL Wednesdays. If you saw my little update that I had the other day, I just got back from Dallas, Texas, and that night I had like 2 hours to do this, and I just felt like I was rushing it and I didn't want to do that, so I ended up just saying, for this week, I'm going to make it on Friday. I just got off work, so I have some time to work on this. And I also mentioned in that video how I also there wasn't very much news this week in the King Gizzverse, so it's not like you guys were missing much. I will say that because this show was held off 2 extra days, we did get a few more little news details, so I'll be getting into that. It's just not going to be the main part of the episode. I'll go through the brief little headlines, and then I'm actually also doing my King Gizzard album tier list, which I thought would be kind of fun for a week where there's not much news, and you guys can let me know what you guys think of my opinions, and that'll be near the end of the episode. But first, let's get into our headlines on this KGL Wednesdays. So before we get into the first headline, I also wanted to thank all of you for subscribing. As I did mention, I reached 69 subscribers, but I actually reached 100 subscribers, and then am now at 130. I'm not going to make it like a big deal, like, oh my god, that's the most subscribers on YouTube or anything like that, but it is very cool, and it's cool to see this channel kind of grow a little bit, and so thank you guys for subscribing. I also heard what you guys had to say about Fan Tayumi. I heard lots of reviews, most of them were pretty good, except for one person who said that he kind of blows.
And I would like to die.
Well, that joke out of the way, I've been wanting to make that joke all week for this episode, so I wanted to make sure I filled it in there. Hopefully you guys are a fan of that joke. Anyway, alright, wow. So, the first headline of the week, and actually this is the most recent news, I thought it's the biggest news, so I'll mention it first. So King Gizzard, they posted out on social media that there are more 2022 US tour dates coming. Actually, I think it said US or just tour dates in general, but I'm assuming it's US, which would make sense. There were a few big cities that did not get King Gizzard shows that were part of the tour for next year, so there will be some new ones being added, hopefully in Pittsburgh. I'd love to go see them in Pittsburgh. I mean, I'm going to travel no matter where I have to go to see them, but it should be a fun time. So hopefully they're coming to a city near you, and that's the end of the first headline. So another headline that I'm going to be discussing is the fact that King Gizzard is going to be going to Shaky Knees, or Shaky Legs, I'm sorry, it's blanking for me, but it's a festival that's going to be held on April 30th, 2022. And King Gizzard is the third in line if you go by like the font size. They're third in line in terms of the performers. 9 Inch Nails was like the headliner, so if you're in Atlanta, that's where it's going to be held. You can go check them out. It should be a fun time. And, you know, that's going to be really fun for people that are in the area, and they can go see a really cool concert. And speaking of concerts, I saw Tame Impala last week, and I wanted to just say it was an amazing show. It was my first concert that I got to see in a long time, so it was really fun. It was in Dallas, Texas, at the American Airlines Center, and it was really fun. I won't go too much into detail because this is KGL Wednesdays, but all I could keep thinking of was, man, I just can't wait to see King Gizzard live, because seeing Tame Impala was amazing, but I just know it'll be really, really fun. So the third headline I'm going to be mentioning for you guys today is, this is kind of me. So there's a podcast called the Overcast Podcast, which is on YouTube, and I will link it in the description below. I want you guys to check it out because it's an interview on Shiny Joe Ryan, who is from the band Pond, and he also has his own solo stuff, and he's also in Tame Impala with their production crew. So he did an interview, and I asked, because Pond and so Nick from Pond, Stu from King Gizzard, they're doing like they're working together on a Nick Albrook single. So I figured, why not ask what does he think about King Gizzard? And he just said they're awesome, and that I asked what are the odds of a King Gizzard Pond collab, and he said like that would be really fun. Obviously nothing like that is gonna happen, but I thought that was kind of fun that two awesome Australian bands, they obviously are kind of friends with each other, and thought that was a cool little tidbit. So cool news for Shiny Joe Ryan. Alrighty, the last headline I'm going to be getting into before I get into my King Gizzard tier list. Like as mentioned many times, I was on a trip, and on my trip I picked up Live in Melbourne 21, which I didn't even know this was out yet. I heard that it was being delayed or something, and I looked through the records, and this was near the back, so I was like, holy shit, I gotta get it, and I did. So pretty hyped about that. It's like it has 3 vinyls with it, so that's kind of interesting. I don't have any vinyls, I think, that have 3 with it, so that'll be really fun. It's all microtonal stuff, so it's a really good set. I love Ontology. That's my favorite song from this set list. But it's a great set all around. I think I might like Live in Sydney, though, a little bit more, but I think that one's not out yet. So that wraps up our headlines, and now let's go to the King Gizzard Tier List Extravaganza 2021. Alrighty, so we are here. The lighting is really bad. I'm sorry. Here, so the lighting. Oh, okay, it's good. It's bad. All right, I'm just going with my webcam here for the sake of I'm doing this on my computer for the tier list. So let me pull up the. Okay, and we are going. I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1, so that way the audio is synced with the. Or actually, okay, so actually, the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna move the Oddments album in 3, 2, 1, just so that way I can sync that audio with the clip that I have. So, alright, so here's my album tier list. I don't want to take forever doing this because I feel like I can talk about all these albums. I'm going to try to keep it brief. I have a feeling this is probably going to go on for a while, but I'm going to try to keep it quick. So, I'm just using a random tier list thing that I found online. If I was making my own, I would have Teenage Gizzard and Willoughby's Beach. I would have those in there at a minimum, but also I would, just for fun, I feel like I'll also, I don't know, actually I'm going to leave out the live albums. I really don't think that's fair, as you're just taking like the best songs of albums, so I feel like those are just going to be masterpieces by default. So I'm not going to do those, but I will just do Willoughby's Beach and Teenage Gizzard later on. So my ranking scale is masterpiece, amazing, great, and good. I'm going to admit it, I'm a King Gizzard fanboy. There's not one album on here that I will not turn on and enjoy and be like, I love King Gizzard. So even the good tier is still an album that I will not listen to. I mean, it's probably still a damn good album in my opinion, and like most of these albums are better than a lot of the albums that I listen to nowadays. Anyway, just so you guys get it, don't be too upset if like I put one album in good or something like that. So I just kind of put these in random order. I didn't know how to like clear this, so they're all in good tier right now. But let's get underway. So Oddments is the first one, and I'm gonna put this one under great. So the reason why I'm not putting this, I would be tempted to put this in amazing, because I really enjoy most of this album. Like, so this album has probably like 5 songs in this album are in my top, like, I don't know however many, but let's just say there's a lot of masterpiece songs on it. It's just kind of has a lot of filler on it, and but I still love it. Crying on that album is a top 3 or top 4 King Gizzard song for me ever, so I think that one goes in great. And there's a reason, I'll clarify later why this one isn't great. I have reasoning for it, but it goes with another album that goes. So Murder of the Universe is the first album that'll go into my masterpiece. So I'm not doing these in any particular order in terms of the way I place them, except for the masterpiece tier. I'm just telling you guys now, there are 6 albums that are going to be in this masterpiece tier, and I would say those ones will be in order. I kind of have my top 6 pretty deadlocked, but after that it is completely blurry. It's just too hard for me to rank albums. I can't say that one album that's in the great or amazing tier is that much better than the one that's right next to it. It's just too hard. But Murder of the Universe, I went into it being like, okay, it's got narration, I might not like it, but I loved it. The Altered Beast section is so damn good. I will say the Lord of Lightning stretch is probably the weakest in the album, which is a hot take, but Lord of Lightning and the Bellrock are great, but I think that the final leg of that album with Digital Black and the Hentai Yumi sections are just too great, and I think it's gonna be regarded as one of their best albums ever, I think, and it's in my masterpiece tier. And by coincidence, another album that'll be in my masterpiece tier is Paper Mache Dream Balloon, which I always, like, I feel like I think I did this video a few months ago and I had it in amazing, but the more I keep listening to it over time, it's just a flawless album from start to finish, and I think it goes in the masterpiece tier. It's just, honestly, there's not a... I mean, what album has a weak song? But this album definitely has no weak songs. I feel like every song is super high quality, and they don't go on too long. I like how it's kind of short. The ideas don't go on so much that it's like, okay, I'm getting kind of sick of this. So I'm going to put Paper Mache in the masterpiece tier. Up next is Eyes Like the Sky, and this one's actually not going to get moved. It's going to stay in the good tier. And I honestly slept on this album for a while. The reason it's in the good tier is, honestly, it's not an album I listen to enough to the point where I would say it deserves to be on this level. And I will say the first 3 songs in the album are my favorite of the album. They're so damn good. Year of Our Lord is just fantastic. The Raid, it's super good, but I'm going to leave it in the good tier for now. Oh, not for now. It's not leaving. Alright, so... Oh yeah, like I said, these are in order. So Murder of the Universe I like more than Paper Mache. Just so you guys know, I don't want to be confusing, but everything underneath Masterpiece is in random. I'm just throwing it in there. But up next is Polygon of Wonderland, and this is the #1 album for me by King Gizzard. Every time I listen to it, I always have a nice surprise when I hear it. There's always something new that I discover that I never heard before. It's so damn good. It's some great prog rock, and it's my favorite, and it took me a few tries to fully appreciate it, but I want another Polygon of Wonderland album. I think that's why there's so much hype with Timeland, because there's some kind of rumor maybe it's gonna be, maybe it'll be some kind of Polygon of Wonderland album. I don't know, but it's my #1 pick, and it's definitely the #1 in Masterpiece. So up next, I'm actually gonna take KG and I'm just gonna do KG and LW together, and they actually both go in the same tier, and that is in the great tier. I'm gonna put both of these in great. And I know I kind of lied when I said I was going to review a bunch of King Gizzard albums. I kind of stopped at KG. I'm just not good at discussing albums, I think. I think it would just be me saying it's good, it's cool, it's great, it's so good for every single song in the albums, and I just think it would get kind of old. So I'm not going to do any more King Gizzard album reviews, I think. Maybe like album spotlights on these weekly videos, but KG and LW, I think they're both very solid albums. KG was my first new King Gizzard album to come out when I was a fan, and I love it. Intrasport, so good. LW, I think these albums are just tied for me. But I will say, KG, there are more songs on KG that I would say are elite songs that I love, but LW has less weak points that KG has. LW has a more consistent album throughout, but I would say I like the songs on KG more. So I will put those both together. I just think they're tied. So up next, Butterfly 3000, the newest King Gizzard album to come out, and I'm putting this one in amazing. Hopefully that didn't just screw up. I think it kind of... Alright, we're good. So Butterfly 3000, this album... Honestly, when I first heard it, there was part of me that wanted to say this was the best King Gizzard album. And on Last FM, it does say it is my #1 streamed album of the year. And the songs are just super catchy, and the lyrics are really good, and the theme of the album is really wholesome. And again, I kind of want to speed up just a little bit, but Butterfly 3000 is great, and I'm going to put that in the amazing tier. Up next is Sketches Brunswick East, and this one is very, very, very difficult. I am going to put it, though, in... Last time I did this, I would have put it in great, but I am going to put it in amazing. I might change my mind on that. It's, like, tied between these two, because I feel like... Okay, honestly... I just think there's so many songs on that album that I really, really, really do enjoy to the point where it deserves it, but I think I'm going to put it in great. And it's very close. I love Sketches. I'm just trying not to have any tier be too beefed up. So I think just for the sake of making it like a little, I'm going to have it leaning on great, but it's like in between that. So up next, Float Along, Fill Your Lungs. This one is my #3 favorite King Gizzard album. Okay, so there is an album that will be between 1 and 3, and Float Along, Fill Your Lungs is my #3 pick. Just the intro and outro songs of that album are probably the best intro and outro songs in any King Gizzard album. Head on Pill and Float Along, Fill Your Lungs, amazing songs. The other songs in the album took a while to grow on me, but when they did, I love them. And Float Along, Fill Your Lungs is one that just does not get old for me. Okay, this one is going to be a very controversial pick, and of any of my takes, this might be the most hot take-ish take.
Quarters is not going anywhere, and I will just in terms of personal favorites, I love Quarters. It's the production on it is insane, and just like Polygon and Wonderland, I always discover something new with it when I listen. It's again, this one would be very close between great and good, but I'm not. I don't want to spoil, but this would like this. These are the only two albums in the good tier are Eyes Like the Sky and Quarters, and I just kind of don't want to have Eyes Like the Sky on its own. Quarters, I love the songs; they're great, but I just don't listen to them over and over and over again because of the length of the songs. But that's the whole point of it. So it's kind of I don't want to knock it because of that, because I like that aspect. I love long songs, but since it's the entire thing of it, it's just gonna hurt it in terms of my favorability to it because I don't listen to it all the time. But that one it's tough to say, and again, gotta reiterate, none of these albums I dislike. I love them all. All right, Infest the Rat's Nest. This one is gonna be the last, well, of my top 6 albums. This is number 6. So there is one more album in there that, or on here, down here, that'll go in that tier. Infest the Rat's Nest was number 5 for me for a while, but I really, it's tough. I think these two are, it's kind of funny, the chillest album and the heaviest album are like next to each other. I don't know which one I like more. It is very tough. I would say I'd be leaning towards Paper Mache, but it's very close for that, but so I will do that. But Rat's Nest is amazing. I love Hell. I love Planet B. Just the entire thing. I love the story behind it, and it goes in Masterpiece. Up next is Fishing for Fishies, and this one is going to be joining Butterfly 3000 in the number 2 tier in terms of animal, I guess, named albums. So I didn't do that on purpose, but Fishing for Fishies is going in amazing. I think this album is, great from start to finish, has some really good high points, but I just think I will say the only thing keeping it from maybe making it into the Masterpiece tier is I think there's just some songs on it that I don't love, you know what I mean? But it's not bad. I would say, like, and again, not hating, I'd say Real's Not Real, and Acarine has become one of my favorites. I would say, like, Real's Not Real and Cruel Millennial, like, those two songs right there. And the Bird song, like, great songs, but they're just not like my favorites, you know, but I still like it, and that's why it's in the amazing tier. So I'm at 11 minutes now, so I kind of want to, I didn't want this segment to be longer than like 15 minutes, so I'm gonna kind of speed up just a tad. So Gumboot Soup, this one is going in amazing as well. And I mentioned earlier about the great tier with Oddments. So the reason I originally had Oddments in amazing, I think, at one point, but then I just said, I think Gumboot Soup is just a way better compilation album, or, like, you know, like mix of song album, and I wouldn't feel right having them both in amazing when I think Gumboot Soup is definitely better. So it goes in that, just a really chill album. I mean, not chill on some parts of it. Some parts are chill, some parts are heavy, but Gumboot Soup, I think, has a great catalog of really solid songs, and it goes in the amazing tier for me. This one is also very tough. I'm going to put it in amazing, but I honestly think there's a point, and honestly I might be leaning on it, that I think that Flying Microtonal Banana is also tied with KG&LW, but I think production-wise, okay, you know what, I'm just going to put them together. I cannot pick a favorite with those 3 albums. I know some people might, you know, have their definitive picks, but I think Flying Microtonal Banana, I think it goes in the great tier for me. Again, please, I don't want you guys to see in terms of this that great, oh my gosh, it's like 3rd out of 4, it must be so bad. No. Like, even these 2 albums right down here and good, I will listen to any day. And what I do with albums is I'll be obsessed over one, get sick of it, not sick of it, but, like, I've had my listen to it, you know, and I'll switch up, and it's just a cycle, it's a vicious cycle. And there's, like, right now, I will say Paper Mache Dream Balloon is that album for me, and I feel like whatever album I'm, like, really into, I'm going to be like, oh, this is a masterpiece. But they all slide down eventually, I think. All right, 12 Bar Bruise. This one is one that is interesting because I would have absolutely told you months ago that this was my least favorite King Gizzard album. It definitely is not, though. Last time I did this, I definitely put it in great. But I think I'm going to leave it in good. I think. I don't know. It's very tough because I really enjoy this album, and I feel like I listen to this album more than I listen to these two. Okay, honestly, I think I'm gonna put it in great. I really do think for a surf garage rock album, it's very raw. I love it. I didn't love it at first, but now I think that there are so many songs on that album that I just get stuck in my head, and it deserves to be there. All right, so we have 2 albums remaining. You guys want to guess which one will be in the masterpiece tier? Because actually, I mean, it could go either way. Some people would probably say that Mind Fuzz is better than Nonagon, or Nonagon is better than Mind Fuzz. So what do I say? I say that Nonagon is better than Mind Fuzz, and it's my number 2 album of all time. So my first album by King Gizzard was Mind Fuzz. Loved it. Listened to the melody, the Mind Fuzz melody, the first 4 songs. Really enjoyed it, and then moved on to Nonagon, and Nonagon, I just was blown away by how well put together it is. Invisible Face is my favorite King Gizzard song. It's tied with Head on Pill. Honestly, it's tough. I like them both. But Invisible Face is a masterpiece song. I love it. Big Fig Wasp, People Vultures. I love how it replays. It's a great album. And it's my number 2 pick. And there are days when I would consider it being over Polly, but definitely Polly's number 1. There's no question. And the last album, Mind Fuzz, is going to be going into the amazing tier. So like I said, this was my first King Gizzard album I listened to, but I would just say there's not songs like I feel like Nonagon I go to constantly being like I need to hear this song, I need to hear this song. Mind Fuzz I kind of have to be in the mood, but when I am in the mood, it is a great time and it goes in my amazing tier. So that is it for those albums. I will just tell you that Teenage Gizzard would go in the good tier, but it's tough though as well. I really enjoy it. Again, I'm biased as fuck, but I would say that one goes in there. And the other one, Willoughby's Beach, that one I think is slightly better than 12 Bar Brews, but not enough to put it in amazing. I'm gonna put Willoughby's Beach in the great tier. So Willoughby's Beach there, Teenage Gizzard in good. So that is it for my tier list. I am going to be switching back over to myself, so take it away, Levi, right now.
Alrighty, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed my album tier list. Hopefully you guys aren't mad or anything like that at my opinions. Again, they're just my opinions, and I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Right now, I'm running through some of my favorite King Gizzard memes of the week, so go to the Reddit, go to the description and go to the Reddit and upvote the memes you guys think are funny. And speaking of which, all credits are in the description below for anything that I use this week. Hopefully there's more news next week. I have a feeling there will be. I have a hunch that we're going to have something more tour dates, which is kind of obviously said is coming, as well as perhaps some more news about LP number 3 of 2021. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next Wednesday for sure. I will be posting on Wednesday. I'm not going on a trip, so I will see you then. Fantayumi says what's up, and I will see you guys next time.